All right, guys, for the final Find a Story to Tell assignment, part 3, we are going to finish this. We are going to take your mod that you built in part 1 and then perfected in part 2, and we are going to take it and move it to the page that you built in the Build an Entire page in eDesign. So let's talk about how we're going to do this. If I was Carlos, I'll just use his as an example because he did a pretty good job. I'm going to make sure I use the same. Well, that's not true. I'm going to make sure my photos are appropriate. And we've already talked about this, about what kind of photos work well in the yearbook. So you may need to replace some of your photos. You may need to, now that you know how to, write a better headline. And you may need to clean up and refine your captions. So it's not just that we're coming in here and selecting everything on page 10 and copying it over to page 70. That's not what we're doing. We're taking everything on page 10, we're making it perfect, and then we're putting it on page 70. I would honestly probably just leave page 10 alone, and I would come to page 70 if that was the one that Carlos was working on. This is his page, so that's why I said page 70. You're going to do it on your own page. And I'd come in here and go to edit, and you're going to make your story to tell, whatever you've been working on, you're going to make it the dominant mod of this page. So, a couple of things. One, if you've been doing this assignment all along, the Find a Story to Tell, this is going to be pretty easy for you. It's mostly going to be editing and cleaning up your page. If you haven't been doing these assignments yet and you haven't even really started, the good news is if you can get this done and do a good job on it, you will have done everything that it takes to get to here. So you can go back and you can get the credit for Find a Story to Tell part 1 and part 2. So that's good news. Your grade can come up by quite a bit by doing an amazing job on this. The bad news is it's going to take you forever to go through all of that stuff that you need to do to get to the point where you're ready to make this and for it to be awesome. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be the dominant mod on the page, and it needs to look perfect. It needs to be ready to publish. I want you to think before you send it to me. This is going to get printed in the yearbook. It's probably not. It might, but if it did, would I be okay with the principal seeing it, the athletic director seeing it, all of my teachers, all of my peers, the people who are in the photos? Would I be okay with all of those people seeing it, knowing that I made it? If the answer is no, then you need to keep working on it. So, what are we looking for here on this assignment? We're looking for a great headline, great captions with great character styles. The character styles have to be solid. The captions have to be well written and error free. The photos have to be good photos, like we've talked about. Let's see. What else do we need? The mod looks good. The spacing has to be correct. The photos are inserted and sized appropriately. And I think that's it. You guys, if you can do all of those things, and those are all things you've learned about in this class, you can do this assignment. Okay? So again, if you're mostly done with this already, this is going to be pretty simple. It's not just copy and paste, though. Go through with a fine-tooth comb, have Maddie read it, have Jada read it. It's probably even a good idea to have me read it before you submit it. Join me in office hours and say, hey, Johnson, could you look over this page and tell me if I did a good job or not? That would be a really, really good idea. One problem you might have is a lot of times these dominant mods don't have a spot for a headline, so you might have to make one. If this does not go through the gutter, you might be able to do something like this and shrink that down, and now you put that there, but don't put a headline through the gutter. That doesn't work. You could also come over here maybe and bring this over and do like a sideways headline right there. That would work okay. That could be kind of cool. Or like we talked about in the headline video, sometimes you could put your headline right over the photo if you don't have any other choice. So those are all options for what you can do with your headline. You might also need to change out your dominant mod. For example, maybe all your photos are vertical and these are all horizontals. So we can't use this one. Well, the pink boxes are gone, but you can still count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 10 by 15. Right? So you would just come over and add a 10 by 15 mod to this that works for the photos that you have. Or you get new photos. You get new photos, which you might need to do. Anyways, this is it, you guys. This is the final Find a Story to Tell assignment. And once we're done with this, we're ready to start making the yearbook. There's still a few more things you need to learn, but we'll worry about that once we get back in school and get started on making the book for reals. So I'm super excited to see what you come up with, and let me know if you need help.